So this is a bit of a different video. Well, I used to do sit down videos, but since having a baby that's become a bit difficult. But I did really want to film a adjusting to like new mum life sort of Q&A video. So I've got some topics that I sort of want to talk about from adjusting to becoming a new mum. Not just becoming a new mum, becoming a young mum. And also I've got some questions to answer as well. Little man's napping. He's probably going to wake up in about 10 minutes, so I need to be quick. But yeah, I'll start with like the questions, and I'll just go into like, maybe the topics will come up when I look at the questions people have asked. I'm going to start. I've just tanned and I've got like foundation and I've just got concealer on, so if my face looks a bit weird then that's why. Don't mind the bit of a bounce on. So the first question, and a lot of people asked this same question, was how are you planning on balancing uni and mum life? So I start university in September. It's now August, so obviously I've literally got, it's the end of September, so I've got like a month and a half left before I start uni, which makes me really sad. Not sad in this sense that I don't want to go back to uni, I do, but just the fact that I've not left Quincy yet, and it's my own fault. I can't leave him, and I know that when I go to uni obviously I'm going to have to leave him. But unless I've had to leave Quincy to go to like a doctor's appointment or something like that, or moving house, my sister watched him for a few hours while we were just moving bits back and forth, like I have not left Quincy's side since he came out of me, so that's going to be really hard. That's the hardest part of it. I get really bad separation anxiety from him. I know like some mums can just sort of go out or give him to the mums and go out on a night out or have that break, and in a sense I'd love that break, but I can't do it. It's like a really weird thing that I have. I'm sure a lot of mums, especially new mums, have it, but yeah, it's just, I just can't. Sorry, don't know why I'm saying sorry. But how are you planning on balancing uni and mum life? So I don't know yet. I'm just going to sort of take it as it goes. Obviously I haven't got my university timetable yet. When I get the timetable I'll know more, because I'll know how many days I'm in uni, what hours I'm in uni, and what time I've got with Quincy, and sort of then I'll be able to sort of figure out a bit of a plan on how I'm going to balance it out. But I don't really know how I'm planning on balancing it. People go back to work. It's just like, so basically I'm not going back to work, I'm going back to university. I don't go back to work until March next year, because I took like a whole year off and then I've got holidays to use. So yeah, I'm just like sort of easing myself in. I don't think uni will be as hard as going back to work full time, but you never know, because you go to uni and you come back and you've got assignments to do, and then obviously I've got a baby now, so it will be very different to last year when I was in uni and I was just like at home on my own on the computer all day doing my assignments, because obviously I'll have to stop and accommodate to Quincy and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope it goes smoothly, but it probably isn't. But at the end of it I'll be really proud of myself for doing it. I mean, it's not impossible, you can do anything you put your mind to, so like it's not, I know loads of people that have gone to uni and had kids, like it's not the end of the world. Obviously he's a little bit young, he's going to be 7 months old when I start uni, and normal people go back to work at around 9 months. Not everyone, because some people have to go back to work sooner. So yeah, everyone's circumstances are obviously different, but hopefully it'll balance out and I'll find sort of, because I don't even have a balance now, and that's just having a baby. So I think it'll actually put me into more of a stricter routine being at university, because I'll have to do this at this time and have to do that at that time, sort of thing. So it'll probably be good, and it'll bring some I'm stuttering so much. It'll bring some normality back into my life. I feel like when you become a mum, I feel like some people are like back to themselves straight away, but I feel like you lose yourself a little bit, and I feel like I've definitely lost like myself as a person a little bit. And I feel like going back to uni and doing something that I was doing pre-pregnancy will sort of help me slowly get myself back, and not just be a mum, be Alesha and a mum. So have like that, a different side to me, rather than just being a mum 24/7. Obviously I'll always be a mum, but I mean just in mum mode all the time. I'll have like different things to be doing as well, if that makes sense. If you mean by how you're planning balancing uni and mum life as in childcare. Jemiah works long shifts Friday to Sunday, and then he has Monday to Thursday off, so that works out really well. He can have him in the week, and then I've got a lot of family that have offered to have him. So I don't think I'll be in uni like full days all the time. It'll just be like I think 2 or 1 day you're in uni from morning to night, and then there's like 2 days where you're in like half a day, so it's not going to be someone looking after him the whole day every single day of the week, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've got a lot of family. I'm not putting him into nursery just because I'm paranoid and I don't want him to go to nursery so young. But yeah. Someone's asked, any tips on dealing with disappointment of not being pregnant when trying? I can't answer this from your perspective because when I got pregnant with Quincy we wasn't trying, so I never had that initial like checking every month if I was pregnant and not being pregnant. Obviously I was very shocked and we wasn't trying to have a baby, but I can relate on the sense that in the past if I thought I was pregnant and I took a pregnancy test and it was negative, I'd be like, oh, I'm not. Like, it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't be sad because I wasn't trying, but it'd be like, oh, I'm not pregnant. And you'd always get that, like, I feel like girls understand what I mean. Like, even if you're not trying or you don't want a baby or anything, but if you think you're pregnant, you take a pregnancy test and it's negative, it's like, oh, right, okay, I'm not pregnant. Because you have in your head that you're pregnant for like a week before you take a pregnancy test, and then you take the test and you're not. It's like, oh, like, I get that sense of disappointment. One thing I will say is I feel like everything happens at the right time. Like, obviously we wasn't trying for Quincy, and I just feel like now, like, I don't even know what I was doing with my life, and it's like sort of motivating me to just like push on and keep going with what I already was doing. But I just what I'm trying to say is I just feel like he came into my life at exactly the right time, and I feel like the same will happen with you. Even if you feel completely ready right now, the universe might be saying you need to do this first, or you're not completely ready, or this needs to happen, or you need to keep trying. It's always teaching you a lesson, and whether it's patience or gratitude or just like anything. So just keep faith, I'm saying. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with that. You've asked for tips on dealing with it. I'd say just keep positive about it. Don't get yourself down about it, even though it's so hard to. Maybe don't sort of focus on it so much, as in like, you obviously keep trying, but maybe don't test as often. Just so you're not having that disappointment over and over and over again, so close together. Yeah, and the main tip of dealing with it would be just know that obviously what's meant to be will be, and it will happen, but it's just not happening right now because it's not meant to happen right now, and when it does happen it'll all make sense why it's happened then. I feel like, yeah, that's what I feel like I should say. So someone else has asked, do you feel like it's been easy adapting to mum life being young? You're doing so well, by the way, thank you. That's very nice to hear. I feel like no matter what age you become a mum, it's never easy adapting. It's a massive change physically, mentally, your whole life priorities change. So I would never say that it's easy. At the beginning I did find it, I don't want to say the word easy, but I was like, oh, like this is quite, like, I felt like I went into it quite naturally. Saying that, I have got a lot of young children in my family. I'm the eldest of 4, and then there's a lot of like kids in my family, so I've been used to babies pretty much my whole life. So in that sense I think that's why it felt so natural at the start. It still feels natural of course, but now he's teething, he's wanting to move about, he's been poorly, like had colds and stuff, so on that sense the sleep regression, like it's a bit more difficult now than when in the newborn phase. But I feel like with this whole, I'm not saying you're saying this, I mean it as like a whole stereotype. With young mums I feel like they're meant to find it harder than like an older mum, which makes no sense because I know mums that are 30 plus that find it very extremely difficult, and obviously that doesn't mean that I'm not going to find it difficult, but in the sense of age I don't think it makes a difference. I know what you mean by adapting to mum life being so young, because obviously people my age, they go out, they drink, they do this, they do that, but before I was pregnant I never really enjoyed going out. I was completely focused on like uni and work really. It sounds boring, but I'm just not, I just don't like going out. Yeah, the odd night out is nice to just let your hair down, but I wasn't one of them people that just went out all the time. And obviously I lived on my own for I've lived on my own for 2.5 years now. So yeah, I feel like it has been easy adapting from in that sense, because it's not like a massive change where I was out all the time and doing stuff all the time. Obviously it does take away your freedom a little bit, because you can't just go out when you want to go out or do something when you want to do it. It's got to always work around your baby, but it's the best thing in the world. Like, nothing will ever compare to how having your own child makes you feel. Like, you feel proud every single day, you feel happy every single day, you feel sad every single day because they're growing so fast. Like, you go through like a roller coaster of emotions. But yeah, I think the hardest thing with me adapting to being a mum was mentally. Obviously there's all sorts of hormones in your body when you're pregnant, and then pre-pregnancy, I mean postpartum, and I think because I had a bit of a traumatic birth as well, it set me off on like a bad foot mentally. And then my recovery was really hard, so that was probably the hardest thing to deal with. Not the fact of becoming a new mum, it was just the fact of like what was happening in my head. Like, I wouldn't sleep very well. I'd like, oh god, I can't describe it. The first few weeks, because I was like really ill and I was recovering from birth, I found it hard because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I couldn't go on walks, nice little newborn walks, and he was like 1 week old. I couldn't go to my midwife appointments when he was 2 weeks old because I was so sore. So that sort of took a toll, because I was just stuck in the house, and I literally felt like I was in a dungeon. And our house at the time didn't have a garden or anything, so we were literally just stuck in the same room. I had this baby to look after, I wasn't well myself, and that just sort of set me off on a bad foot mentally. And then the anxiety, oh my god, that comes with having a baby is so intense. Like, when I was pregnant I had really bad anxiety all of a sudden. Like, before I was pregnant I didn't really suffer with anxiety too bad, and then when I was pregnant, every little thing I'd be like, oh my god, is he okay? I'd freaking go to the hospital if I didn't feel him move for an hour because I was scared something had happened. Like, my anxiety was so bad. I wouldn't sleep. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and think, has he kicked while I've been asleep? And then I would not go back to sleep until I felt him kick. And then when you think that your anxiety sort of calmed down when they're here, but it doesn't. Like, I'd wake up every hour when he was like, up until he was about 3 months old, even if he wasn't waking up every hour, just to check he were breathing. Like, oh my god, it's so bad. But yeah, that's definitely the hardest part. But I feel like most mums go through that, and it's completely normal. And then obviously you have your moments where you feel low, feel like you're not doing enough, or when you're tired and then you have to function in the day. Like, that obviously has a toll on you mentally as well. So yeah, if you want me to do a video specifically on that, I can do a video specifically on that, because I feel like there's a lot to say about that sort of area. Of having a baby and postpartum and all that stuff. Another question is, how do you fit in self-care time? That's a funny question, because I don't. I'd say I don't really have any self-care time, and that's not by choice. I feel like if I'm tired, oh, he's welcome. Jam, you just go get him. He's awake, so I'm just gonna feed him his breakfast and then I'll be back. Yeah. Right, I'll carry on. What question was I answering? Oh yeah, how do you fit in self-care time? Yeah, it's not a choice. Basically, if I'm tired on a night, I'm not gonna go upstairs and start doing a face mask and paint my toenails. I'm gonna go to bed. I prioritise sleep over self-care. Because my free time is in the evening, so I'll put Quincy down to bed at 8 o'clock and I'll go to bed at about 10, so I have 2 hours. If I'm tired that night, I will go to bed, or if I haven't had time to have tea before, I'll have my tea in that time, or I'll sit and watch TV. That is sort of my self-care time. But I don't, unlike once a week I'll make sure to fake tan, but this has only just started. He's 5 months old now, so it's taken me 5 months to actually start getting a routine of looking after myself, like actually making sure I'm washing my hair once, twice a week, making sure I'm tanning once a week, just to make myself feel better. I wasn't doing that, which probably played a part in why I was feeling so shitty as well. But yeah, it's just finding the time, and then when you do have the time, like when he has his naps, you'll see from my vlogs, as soon as he goes down for a nap, I'm like, right, quick, what can I do? I'll go downstairs, I'll go back, I'll put all the washing away, and then he wakes up and I'm like, right, Quincy time now. So self-care time, I don't really do too much, but I have started making sure, like I said, I tan once a week to make myself feel better. And yeah, but I'm never away from him, and that's not a bad thing. I like being with him, so that's fine. Isn't he? Why have you got a book on your head? Why have you got a book on your head? How do you plan on adjusting when you go back to uni? Obviously I've already pretty much answered that. It's just, again, another adjustment. I've adjusted from having a baby, not having a baby, to having a baby. So it's just adjusting from going to uni without a baby and going to uni with having a baby. So yeah, not much. Oh, that door. Ignore the coats on the door. We currently don't have a coat hanger, so coat thing, so they're just on the kitchen door. So yeah, any more questions? I didn't get that many questions, to be honest. I never really do when I do these. But oh yeah, someone's asked, how do you adjust to sleepless nights and having to wake up to your child's needs? That's a very good question. Because when I was pregnant, I was thinking, God, like, because I was sleeping a lot when I was pregnant, obviously, because you're growing a literal human inside your body, you need to sleep. So whenever I wasn't working, I'd just try and get as much rest as I could. Are you listening to me? You're just listening to me, you good boy. Sorry, he's just staring at me, so cute. He's like, who were you talking to, Mum? Who am I talking to? Yeah, when I was pregnant, I was sleeping a lot, and I was thinking, God, how am I going to go from like not sleeping very well? I was like, it's fine, my baby is going to sleep really well, everything's going to be fine. Comes to 5 months old, and he's not the best sleeper. When he was a newborn, he slept really well. He woke up every 3 hours. I'd wake up every 2 hours, obviously, because I was feeding him, so I'd wake up, feed, and then have to get back to sleep. So I'd get like 2 hour stretches. So I'd be having like 6 hours sleeps, or sometimes 8 hour sleeps. Obviously broken up, but I'd get 2 hours awake, 2 hours awake, 2 hours awake, and it'd work like that. I'd get the most sleep by going to bed when he did. So like when he was a newborn baby, he went to bed around 9-10, which is quite a good sweet spot for when I was tired as well. So I'd go to bed at the same time as him pretty much. So we'd both get like a good amount of sleep. He got to about 8 weeks old, and he'd sleep from about 8-9 to like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'd get like a 4 or 5 hour stretch of, well, I won't go to bed at that time, but I'd get like a bit like a longer stretch again. Quincy has slept through the night twice since he's been born. Obviously when he did that, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is where I start getting my sleep back. But yeah, it was just, I don't know why he did them nights, but he did. Obviously, me being paranoid of waking up every 2 to 3 hours anyway, just to check he was alright. And when you breastfeed, because your boobs are used to filling up for the feeds in the night, when he did sleep through the night, I'd wake up and they'd be so big and engorged and just full of milk, so I'd have to like either pump or, yeah, it were painful, so I'd wake up for that reason anyway. So yeah, I feel like at the start adjusting to sleep wasn't too bad. You're just sort of thrown into it. Obviously you're pregnant and then you have a baby and you're like, right. The first night I didn't sleep. I had about an hour. I gave birth. I didn't sleep all that day, all that night. Obviously I gave birth in the night. Then I had a baby, so I didn't sleep. And then I think I slept 2 hours of broken sleep in the hospital when he was born. I'd get like half an hour and then I'd be awake, and I'd get another half an hour. So for like 48 hours I didn't really sleep after he was born. And it was hard to sleep. I was really, really uncomfortable after birth. Yes I was. Yes I was. So yeah, that affected my sleep as well. But I feel like adjusting to sleep is alright. I feel like you don't really have a choice. You've got to adjust to the sleep. You've got to wake up when your baby's crying. Like, you're their main care provider. They survive off you. Like, obviously they survive off you, so you don't have a choice. So it's not really about adjusting. Obviously it's hard to adjust, but you don't have a choice. You've got to wake up and you've got to do the feeds. You've got to, if they're crying in the middle of the night because they've got belly, you've got to wake up. Do you know what I mean? So it's not, well, you do wake up anyway. So yeah, obviously you go from just having yourself in the night time, going to sleep and waking up and getting yourself back to sleep, to having a baby. You're waking up because your baby's woken up, not because you've woken up. So obviously it is very tiring. The past few nights he hasn't slept very well, so I've had about 3 hours of broken sleep the past 2-3 nights. But I don't know what it is. I feel like you get this adrenaline rush. Like in the day they need you, so you've got to get up anyway. You've got to feed them in the day, you've got to play with them in the day, you've got to entertain them, you've got to dress them, you've got to change their nappy. Like they need you, so you don't really have a choice in that sense. But and you wake up tired in the morning, but an hour later you're fine, like you feel okay. You wouldn't expect to. Like if I said to you, right, you're gonna have 3 hours sleep tonight, and then the day after you've got to do this, this and this, you'd be like, no, I can't do that off that much sleep. But when you have a baby, you've got to, and it just, your body just does it, your brain just does it. Obviously if I've had like a few nights in a row where I've had a really bad sleep, then I start to be a bit moody, a bit ratty. My mental health might go down a little bit, because obviously my brain hasn't had time to rest. But yeah, I feel like I've adjusted to the sleep quite well. Obviously some people find it harder than others. Some weeks I find it harder than other weeks. It just depends and it fluctuates. But how do I adjust? That's how I adjust. I just do what he needs me to do, and then when he needs me. And yeah, that's just how it is. So yeah, that's all the questions answered. I hope I answered them okay. And then I've written in my notes some topics I want to talk about. Oh, careful. Oh dear. So I've spoken a little bit about the anxiety. Another thing I want to mention is social media. So I thought when I had a baby I'd be like, because I tried to like obviously make content for my Instagram, to link in with my YouTube and stuff. If people watching my YouTube, I want them to go to my Instagram and me to get a following that way. And I do get the odd message from like brands and stuff, so obviously I want to make my Instagram look nice. So obviously before I was pregnant I used to do that through my pregnancy, and I did that. And then since I've had Quincy, I haven't taken the time, which it's something I enjoy, getting content and taking pictures, and not because I love myself, but it's something I enjoy like to do as like an aspect of, if I could do this as a job, I'd love to do it, because I enjoy sort of thinking, oh, where would it look nice, take a picture, putting an outfit together, and stuff like that. I enjoy doing that. So yeah, social media, I feel like there's a massive pressure to sort of upkeep your social media when you've had a baby. Like I said, I feel like I'm only just sort of slowly, very, very, very slowly getting back to myself. It's just it's so weird, like if I see a video of myself a year ago, I'm like, who is that person? Like, it's growth, but it's hard because it's such a quick step up. Like, you were there last year and now you're here. It's complete, like, I just don't, sometimes I don't recognise myself. So with the social media thing, obviously I struggle with time as well and managing the day as it is. But I just feel like with me not feeling myself, I'm not just going to go out and be like, oh, I'm going to get a picture for Instagram, because I'm not feeling it. So why would I do it just to post? Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm going to start trying to get more content with Quincy as well. I want to do more like mum and baby content for my Instagram. But I just haven't felt up to it mentally, so I'm not going to force myself to do it when I don't feel like doing it, basically, or haven't had the time, or I don't think, all right, I'm going to like do myself up today to have an Instagram picture, because I feel like I couldn't post myself looking like this today on Instagram. I know it's bad, but that's just how it is, isn't it? Like, you post like the best parts, but I want to sort of post this sort of stuff on my Instagram, so I'm going to sort of work on like posting pictures where I ain't got a full face of makeup on, or I don't look like I've made an effort. But yeah, with the social media thing, that's a big change in my life from becoming a mum, because I was on it all the time. I was posting pictures all the time, and then I've become a mum. Don't post anything on my Instagram. I don't do myself up and put outfits together to take pictures. So yeah, that's something I want to sort of slowly get back, just again to sort of get back to my old self before I was a mum. So obviously, so going to uni, I'm going to sort of get that side of my life back, and then my Instagram and stuff like that as well. That's just another aspect, if that makes sense. I've written down pressure here. I don't know what I mean. I know what I mean by that, but I should have put some more things to say. Just pressure in general. When you become a mum, there's pressure to do things a certain way, to act a certain way. Pressure in general, I feel like there's a lot of pressure, especially on young mums, because I feel like there's a pressure that, I feel like there's a stereotype that people think because you're a young mum you're not a good mum, and then so you have that pressure to like try and impress people and try and look good in front of people. Like I feel like when I'm out in public I try, like if I'm dressed like this, like in a top and jeans, like this is what I normally wear. I'm not changing my style because I've become a mum, but I feel like because I'm wearing this I get funny looks when I'm out sometimes with him, which is wrong, I know, like it really annoys me, but there's that pressure to just like dress a certain way, act a certain way. So yeah, that's something that I've had to sort of overcome since becoming a mum. And then the last thing I want to talk about was relationships. I feel like I want to talk about this because I feel like not a lot of people do talk about it, and on social media everything can look perfect when it's not. Nothing's perfect. And like on my vlogs and stuff, obviously I don't show, like I'll vlog for 4 days and it'll be a weekly vlog, and 3 days that week I could have been crying all day because I'm not feeling good, or me and Jamai have had an argument about something stupid, or but it all affects you differently when you have a baby. So like I just want to say, when you become a new mum, don't lose like your relationship with your partner. Like me and Jamai have had hard conversations, and like when you have a baby it's a new person in your space that you're used to having together, so obviously you've got to adjust to that and just like make it work, and you've got to try. If you want something to work, you've got to try. So yeah, adjusting to having a baby has been difficult relationship wise because we've had to try harder with each other to make time for each other, and just to sort of parent together. So like he does something, I do something, to give each other a bit of time and space, and time with Quincy on our own. So I've had it wording things, that's why I don't do sit down videos. But yeah, that's just another thing that I've had to adjust to, is the change in relationship. But yeah, but like if you are pregnant, just prepare to have to sort of have those difficult conversations with your partner, and to just obviously when you love each other you get through it, you try, you work through things, and you've got a gorgeous baby to look after together, and they're lucky to have both parents. And I just think if you are in a relationship and you have a baby, just be prepared for your relationship to completely change for a few weeks or months maybe, and you'll slowly and gradually get back to how it used to be. It's just obviously difficult with a baby when you're both tired, you snap at each other and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I've answered all the questions and talked about all the topics I wanted to talk about very briefly, but little man's getting impatient at you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this sort of video. Like I said, if you want me to go do a video like on one of the topics I talked about, or on one of the questions that I answered, like a whole video on it, whether it be mental health after having a baby, or social media, or relationships, or anything, I'll do it because I quite enjoy doing them. So yeah, I'm going to attend to little man now. I hope you like this video, and I'll be back very soon with my next one.